Welcome to a kind of belated webinar with Seibert Media. I have a guest. It's Andrey from the Ukraine, right, Andrey?
Absolutely, yes. Andrey from Ukraine.
We were also discussing how to pronounce your company name correctly. Is it Rozdoum or?
Yes, you did it right, Rozdoum.
Okay, cool. And you've created a product called WatchTower. It's a Jira product, right? What does it do?
Well, WatchTower is the add-on for Jira that targets accumulating data from multiple Jira instances into one agile board.
Okay. So what I understand is if I have a couple of Jira instances, I can get one unified board to see all my issues from different Jira instances.
Exactly, yeah. So actually it's originated from so we are the Atlassian solution partner. And so it's originated from our internal need where we need to do with the multiple clients, each of them who has their own Jira. Doing that by switching the windows is kind of tedious. So that's why we decided to create a watchtower so we can have one board which will pull data from different Jiras and show them in one place.
Okay, cool. When you talk to customers who try out your product, what is their situation? What is their need that a product fulfills? Or what do you see often? Why do people use multiple Jiras at all? Why don't they just join them to be one instance?
So there are several cases. Yeah. So if, for instance, the customer is like us, the solution provider, then just he has to deal with the number of installations on the client side. On the other side, there are also the situations where the client starts with one Jira and then it just grows and grows to the state where it's hardly handleable by their internal team, and they decided to move to the other instance. And in this case, such a move might be quite a long one. And so in order to help them within this move, they might use the watchtower to be sure that the issues from the old one are visible on the new one unless they migrate that.
Okay. Since when, or when did you air this product? How long has it been on the marketplace?
Well, let me give you just a bit more of a story about that. So the idea originated about last autumn. So we started with questioning the Atlassian experts and partners whether they would find that useful. So we received quite an interesting and positive feedback on that. So we first demoed that on the Atlassian Summit in Barcelona. We call that the MVP. So we just created a prototype of the add-on to be built. We received quite an interesting and positive feedback there as well. So we decided to build the add-on to make it available on the marketplace. So we released that in the beginning of August, took part in the Atlassian Codegate, and actually became one of the 3 winners within the category of the add-ons for the software teams with the Watchtower.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Congratulations.
Thanks.
How about you just show us a little bit around in the software so that we can get a grasp of what it does and how it works.
With pleasure. So I'm starting my screen now. So let's assume we have the situation where we have the 3 independent projects. So at the moment, I will show you that we have this project, which is called Harley, in one instance, which is currently the server instance. We have another one, which is the cloud instance with another project, and we would like to see all of them in one board. So how would you do that? So we go to the watchtower. We have some of the boards pre-configured, but I will start from the beginning so that give you a chance to look at that. And so we create the board. So the most important, you need to give it a name. You can have the description if you please. And then you need to configure the sources. The sources are the things from which you pull the data. So at this point, we create that we want to pull the data from this Jira. Yeah? So this is the cloud instance.
Mm-hmm.
So we configure that. So we give it, say that this is going to be our personal items. Yeah. So, but we know that this is a cloud instance. So what we need to do, we need to provide the some. So we need to say what type of icon do we want to use for that, color, and basically provide the credentials on which we're gonna use for that. Yes.
I will connect through the API probably to.
Yes, exactly. So it will use the Jira REST API to connect to that. And you currently see that we just proved that the connection is there. We see that we connected that, and we see like 53 issues that are there. But this is too much for us. We know that we are interested in the project, which is called personal. We provide here the basic JQL. And then, so these current sources configured. You can see that the number of issues dropped. The number of we provided. So this is the first source which is configured. Then I'm just adding the couple of more sources. I will pull this Harley. So we can also take a look at the local instance as a remote one. Basically, here I'm repeating the same actions as I've done previously.
Okay, so you also put in the username and password, although it is the exact same instance, right?
Yeah, so I can combine the projects from the remote instances or the local one. So basically, it's absolutely the same for the watchtower to which sources to connect to. And here I say that I want to pull the data from the project HD, and I'm testing the connection. If everything is good, I'm done. Now let me just, for the proof of everything it works correctly, I will just add one more source, which is gonna be the actual development server of ours, with some issues which are gonna be just specific issues assigned to me. Yes, in order to differentiate, one more thing, we can also configure the colors of that. Let me briefly grab the correct JQL, because it will take a while. And here we are. So basically, the sources are configured.
Okay.
So now what we can do here as well, we can just define the order of them. So I say that I want this one to be on top of that. And now we need to configure columns. Yeah, so that basically here we try to reuse the functionality and the user experience from the Agile boards the users are familiar with. So we just drag the items to the columns so that we need to configure them. And you can see that currently here you can clearly see the source from which we pull the data. So this is indicated in the top right column. And also the available statuses which you have. Yes. You can free to add more columns if you want, like I want to add the result column. I want to drag it here. And then basically I can say whenever I want to put them. So we clearly separate the statuses which are available and which are not, so the users can decide whether he wants to put all of them or just skip some of them. But let's call it a day for a while. So the last thing that we need to do is basically to say whether we want to use to use swim lanes or not. So how we want to separate our issues. At this point we say that yes, we do want. Basically the configuration is done, and so we now can look at what we got there. So basically here now we see that we got the access for issues from 3 different Jiras. This is the remote server instance. This is the remote cloud instance, and this is the local server instance. And now you can manipulate them the same way you would expect from the normal Agile board. So for instance, on this case, I can say that I want to drag and start doing on the issues of choosing the motorcycle, which I want to, or on this one, I would say that, so this, and we can take a look. So this is the local instance, so it's not that much interesting. But this one is, as we remember, this is the remote cloud instance, and we say that we definitely have already attended the lesson summit. So it was in progress some time ago, and now we can call it done. And now you can see that we are pulling the transition screen from the source Jira, so that it put all the fields that were configured there on this screen, so that the user can decide himself what to provide there. He can provide.
That's also true for editing and other things?
Pardon?
That's also true for the editing screen and so?
At the moment, we do not have the editing screen. At the moment, we do only the transition screens and the edit mode, but that's definitely in the pipeline. So when you say that Lesson Summit was fun, and so if we want to check and make sure that this is the case, so we can easily navigate to the issue, and we are navigating to the issue in the remote in the cloud Jira that we were targeted, and we can see that the comments that we have added within our work log that it was fun is already there, and the status of the issue has changed to done. So the next thing that might be quite interesting for the users, especially if they have to work like as a consultant in their two instances at the same time, like when the users assign issues in their Jira and they work log time in their own Jira, and they need to somehow provide the link between two Jiras. So we provide the possibility for this, like this one. So we can say that we want to report the work log on this issue, on this learn how to write the Harley Davidson. And then you say that you spend like 2 hours on that, but then you want to reference the issue from the other Jira, and the issue from the other Jira is the issue which is HD choose motorcycle, or let's put it, let's take driving lessons. Yes. So you provide a reference to the issue in the separate instance, and you add some comment, and you say that passed my studies, passed my exams. So once you do that, on this remote instance, you will have the comment that would reference the issue from the it references the issue from the other Jira. So you can see that. So that is quite handy and quite convenient because you can reference the remote issues directly. So at the moment, that's most of the functionality that's available.
The booking, the work log. This is not. This doesn't travel to the other instance, does it?
It does. So if you say that you want to you want to report the work log and say that you took the issues, like here you say that I spent 4 hours on doing exercises. It immediately shows up in the remote.
Yeah, that I understand. But if you link the other issue in the other instance, this is just a link. It doesn't mean that somewhat magically the time booking is in the other Jira as well, right?
No, of course not. No, the time reports only in the issue that you provide that. But if you need a reference for that, for instance, if you create reports for your customers on the issues, and you want to include their information on the issues you worked on, so that's you can do.
Okay.
And the easy and convenient way for that, because you have all the issues on one board and you know exactly the issues you want to reference to.
Yeah.
So the other things that I wanted to mention is that so the watchtowers also help you. So in order to monitor the situation when the issues change to the statuses which are not yet available on the board. For instance, on this example, oops, not this one, this one. If you will go to the demo effect, just a second. So basically, so what we can do, we can catch the situation when the issue is transitioned to the screen which is not yet there configured, and then we provide you with the reference with the notification that the board needs to be reconfigured. Like for instance, in this case, we say that this board, so we were signed out and so we need to relog in there so that the user is able to see the issues again. So, and the same notification also works when, for instance, the status has changed or added to the workflow in the original Jira and is not mapped to the column states in the Jira where you try to use the watchtower. Here.
Like, do you have to go to this screen to find that out, or do you get a message somehow that
you get a message? Let me briefly show you on this board that we have pre-configured. Or better, I would use this one. This one was correct. This one was a good example. So this one was definitely missing the configuration which I was trying to show you. Or was it not? No, let me show that to you. No. So if you do not have the proper active status configured correctly, like for instance this one, we can say that this issue which is in progress is not mapped, yes, or it was not mapped originally. Then if you would go to the board, it will show you the notification that there are some issues in the status which is not mapped to the columns, so please adjust the configuration. That handles the situation when the statuses were added to the workflows or issues transitioned in the original Jira to the statuses which were not mapped previously.
Yeah, I understand.
So basically, that's what we have at the moment. So that was the initial version that we have.
Okay, then turn off the screen sharing. Let's talk a little.
Good.
So my first question would be, what is on your immediate roadmap? If you're looking at your product right now, what do you see your customers ask for the most? How do you want to develop this product further?
So what I was just willing to tell you. So the first thing that is on the list to do is the things of sharing. So at the moment the board that you create is only visible for the user that has created that. But we definitely see the need for the users to be able to share this board. So that if I create that for my team, I want my team to access that and be able to do that. Here we would need to tackle the situation quite cleverly and intelligently, because we'll need to restrict the actions that the users will be allowed to do. Because one might need to be able to change the issues and transition them, while the other ones would need to be able only to see and observe the statuses without actual changes.
Okay. So your product is something that I can use myself right now. So I can set up a board, I can put in my user credentials of different instances. You still charge me for the whole instance of Jira that I'm in. So what I would do if I were one of your customers, I would fire up a one-person Jira in the cloud, or behind the firewall is probably even better, with a 10-user instance, and then I'll buy a 10-user license, and then I can use it for my own. Well, is that like, I don't know. I would think this is probably more of a personal tool, but you're also saying you want this to be shared within teams. So is it more of a team effort then? And I didn't get that correctly?
Well, no. Basically, so you can create as many watchtower boards as you want. You can, every user can create them by themselves, and that's why it's being priced on the user tier level, which Atlassian does. So it might be more clever to charge based on the number of sources you try to connect. But that would require us to create our own licenses mechanism, which we do not want to do at the moment.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we are sticking to the Atlassian tiers license base, and we are doing that. And so once again, yeah. So you can create the boards for yourself and use that. It's fine. So you can do as many boards as you want. You can connect to as many sources as you would like to. The thing that we would be targeting is with the sharing, as I said, would be so if you want to share one board with the team and then to manipulate or some kind of use that data with the team as well.
Okay, cool. Then thanks so much for presenting this. I think it's pretty interesting from our perspective over here. We do see quite a few of our customers who have more than one Jira instance. We do have more than one Jira instance. As you pointed out, there's a lot of people out there who are working for customers. And if these customers run their own Jira instances as well, they will have their own Jira instances and their customers' Jira instances. And that's something where your product really comes in handy. And I wish you all the best of luck with this product in the future.
Thank you very much. It was my pleasure to demo that to you.
Cool.